Hello, dear students. This is my lecture on the critical term myth, and this is the last critical term in this first unit. So let's first try to understand the definition and meaning of the term myth. Myth is a symbolic narrative, usually of unknown origin and at least partly traditional. It relates actual events and is associated with religious belief. In other words, it is a legendary or a traditional story that usually concerns an event or a hero with or without using factual or real explanations. So, this myth symbolizes something. It gives a message, and the story is mostly what we find a religious type of story or religious story is there, and this story is associated with or this story is associated with religious belief. uh, we find that many of the religious stories are based on myth, or we may say that many of the religious stories deal with myth. So these legendary or traditional stories, um, we find they maybe or they do not use factual or real explanations. So sometimes we find myths as doubtful, because there is no proof, or we don't find proof to these stories. They are symbolic. Okay. Myth concerns demigods or deities. Demigods or deities means deva devata, and means the stories related to deities or gods are mostly myths. In Ramayana, so the stories related to Ram, or many of the stories in Ramayana, they are, we can't say that where is their origin, and was it actually true or not. So they are doubtful and they are myths, but we take they are related to our existence, our culture, so they are very important because they give us a very important message to live our life. And these myths describe some rites. Rites means dharmic, vidhi, or rituals or rites or practices means what should we, um, how should we behave, or what should we do in our religion. And natural phenomenon, also the things happening around us, what's why they are happening or what's their meaning, also is explained with the help of the myths. So typically a myth involves historical events and supernatural beings. Supernatural means the supernatural beings means the characters which are or which have power, more power than the common human beings. Means the supernatural beings are very powerful, or strong than us, we the natural or with the common being, people. As you find in Ramayana and Mahabharata, Ram, or in Mahabharata, Pandavas or Kauravas, or maybe Krishna. All these, Ram and Krishna are, we consider them as gods. But and other heroes also, they have supernatural powers, and they are very different from common people. So uh, there are many types of myths, such as classic myths, religious myths, and modern myths. Even in modern times also, such type of stories are created which are symbolic of our life and culture. So uh, myths exist in every society, in every period, and they are an integral part of human existence and culture. ह्युमन एक्झिस्टन्स म्हणजे मानवी अस्तित्व आणि संस्कृती. कल्चर मीन्स, सो आपल्या अस्तित्वाचा आणि संस्कृतीचा एक अतिशय इंटिग्रेट मीन्स विच इंटिग्रेटेड इन ऑर इंटिग्रल पार्ट. मीन्स वी कॅन नॉट सेपरेट myth from our life. Or myths in religion particularly, they always give us, or motivate us to live our life, or they give us a very good message to live our life, or how to live uh, our life, and what is the difference between good and evil. And myths are very important in the whole universe and the whole world, because they teach us to live our life, um, now we shall try to understand myth with examples in literature. Roman and Greek myths, though originally not available in English, they have deeply influenced the English works. So when we study English literature, we find a lot of myths are used by many of the writers. Now these myths are not written in English, or they do not exist in English literature or English culture, but or tradition, but they are taken from Roman and Greek languages. As we have in our country Sanskrit language, that is the very ancient language of knowledge, and we also take Ramayana and Mahabharata are written in Sanskrit language, and we take these myths from these Sanskrit epics or great books in our we take motivation from those Sanskrit epics or books, and they deal with a lot of myths. So in English literature also, when the writers write poems or maybe any type of literature, they use Roman and Greek myths in literature, and maybe to give a message to the readers. Then Indian epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata deal with a number of myths, or they are based on myths. Let's try to understand one example here. No Second Troy. This is a poem by W.B. Yeats, a modern poet of the 20th century. And in his poem, No Second Troy, he has used a Greek myth. This myth is about uh, Troy, or Helen, or Helen of Troy. Now, what is this myth? What is this story or mythical story? No, myth means काल्पनिक कथा किंवा दंतकथा ज्याला म्हणतो आपण, की ज्याचा इफेक्ट आपल्या लाईफवर खूप मोठ्या प्रमाणात होतो, किंवा ते आपल्याला खऱ्या आहेत की खोट्या आहेत हे सिद्ध नाही करता येत, बट they are very important for us because they give us a very important message. In the Greek myth, in this poem, the poet has used a Greek myth, very famous myth of Helen, or Helen of Troy. Troy is a city in you know it is in Europe. You may say, or you don't think about where it is, but Greek myth is this, that this Helen was the wife of King Menelaus, who was king of Sparta. This country, the name of the country is Sparta. So King Menelaus was the king of Sparta, and Helen, who is called as the most beautiful woman of the world, and she is the wife of this king. And what happens? She runs away with Prince of Troy. Now, this Troy is another country, and the prince means Rajaputra. So this Prince of Troy, whose name is Paris. So this Helen, the beautiful woman or the wife of King Menelaus, runs away with Paris, or Prince of Troy. And what happens? Because of that, King Menelaus becomes very angry, and he starts battle or the war with Troy. And this war, it is said that it continued for 10 years, and uh, at the end, uh, the city of Troy is destroyed. So this is the myth, and this this Greek king Menelaus takes his wife with him, and he destroys the whole city of Troy, because he thinks that his wife has destroyed his honor by running away with the prince of Troy. So he destroys Troy city, So apparently Helen was a beautiful woman from Greece and was ultimately held responsible for the devastation of Troy. Now, this war happens or the city is destroyed due to Helen. Because Helen runs away with Paris and the king Menelaus becomes angry and this war happens. So Helen is responsible for all these things or the destruction of Troy, or Helen is responsible for the war between Sparta and Troy. So this is the myth. Now, how it has used this myth in his poem, No Second Troy, by creating a similarity between Helen and Morgon. In this poem, the poet has used a character. This poem is about Morgon and the real situation in the modern period or in the 20th century. And he also brought a similarity between the Trojan War and the revolutionary or anti-British activities of the Irish. At that time, what happened? It writes that Irish people, actually, it was Irish by birth, but later on he started writing in English, and he says that Irish people started revolutionary activities, or they became anti-British, or they were fighting against British. And revolutionary means Krantikarak. And just like Helen, it's blamed and held Morgon responsible for creating hatred in the mind of or in the hearts of Irishmen. So it's think that this type of activities, anti-British activities or revolutionary activities happened due to Morgon. So as um, you know, and it created destruction and bloodshed. So it thinks that Helen is like, Morgon is like Helen. As in the history of the ancient period, in the Greek history, Helen was responsible for destruction and bloodshed. In the same way, in the modern period, this Morgon is responsible for destruction and bloodshed. So this is the comparison it brings out in this poem by using the myth of Helen of Troy or the destruction of Troy. And the next example, Paradise Lost. It is an epic in English. Epic means a very long poem which deals with gods and supernatural beings and gives a very important message um, to live our life. So Paradise Lost, and it is based on the story of Bible. Bible is the religious book, great religious book of the Christian people. Now, in this story or in this poem or epic, as we have Ramayana and Mahabharata, Sanskrit epics in India, in the same way in English, it is an epic written by John Milton in the 17th century. This epic is based on biblical stories, on the religious book, Bible, and it contains or it deals with a lot of stories. And Paradise Lost has used those myths or stories from Bible, and they have played very important role in this epic, or not only in this epic, but many of the literary works, English literary works, deal with the stories from Bible. John Milton, in his poem Paradise Lost, plays out the Genesis story about the fall of man and subsequent eviction from the Garden of Eden. So, in this story, the poet has written about the fall of man. In the Bible, the story is fall of man. That is, God creates. The story or myth is like this: that God created paradise and he created first man Adam and the first woman Eve, and he ordered them. They were living very happily in the paradise. Everything was very, it was like heaven. They were living very happily, but God had warned them not to eat the apple There was an apple in that garden, paradise, and God had warned, or uh, God had told them strictly that you should not eat that apple, otherwise you'll be dead. Yes? As far as you don't eat apple, you will be immortal. You will never die. So, and what happens that Adam and you eat the apple, and because of that, God becomes angry and He drives away them from paradise, from the Garden of Eden. That paradise is called as Garden of Eden. It was very beautiful and everything was very happy there. So the poets or the writers used myths in the literary works to give their message uh, very beautifully. So the function of myth is, from these examples, we understand the function of myth. The main function of myth is to teach moral lessons and explain historical events. Authors of great literary works have often taken their stories and themes from myths, and myths and their mythical symbols lead to creativity in literary works. We can understand a culture more deeply and in a much better way by knowing and appreciating its stories, dreams, and myths. Myths came before religions, and all religious stories are based on myths. So, myths also play a very important role in science, in psychology, and in philosophy. So, myths are very ancient, and religious stories are based on myths. Myths come before religion. Already myths were existing in the society, and later on, religious stories came. The writers wrote the religious stories based on the myths. So there is we don't find the origin of myth, who wrote them or who started them. Just they came uh, up to us uh, through the word only or orally. They were not written in any books. And thus we found that myths play a very important role in literature. So now we stop here.